Hi, beauty. Welcome to Meticulous Coaching with your special host, Dominique, aka Daisy Grant, your overflow mentor. Welcome in, beauty.
Let's go before I am super late. How are you getting back? Good question, James. No, like when I get back to Brampton, I don't know which way I'm going. Don't know which way I'm going. Also, I just want to note that this is not the only where I went obviously was not the only store. There's so many other stores that you can go to in the well. Like it's like an open space path, I guess. It's a lot smaller, obviously. But yeah. Anyways, here we go. Back to the train station. That's probably my train getting there right now. Yeah, it's just very, very interesting, to see the moods and stuff that people are in. I'm not going to say it's everyone, but it's definitely like a 80% of people who are just, it just seems like they're just done with life, like don't want to deal with people, don't have patience, or love for one another. It's just very interesting to see how far we've come and where we're at. Kind of leaves me very convicted, convicted in terms of, just remembering that everyone is kind of going through something. Everyone has their own story, their own way of thinking and mindset, and the way to deal with that majority of the time is just to give people grace and understanding, and just remember that people are human, just like you are. Right? And you're not perfect, and there's no way to be perfect, and so to expect perfection out of other people, your fellow human beings, is a little bit kind of sad and hard, because nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. But I may add, like, just sharing, being kind and understanding. I think that if everybody was just kind and understanding towards one another, that we would get along, we would get further. We would together, not just, one group or one person succeeding and others not. Like we would get, further. Oh, I had to put my hood on. Probably looks hilarious because I have a top bun, but it's raining. So one thing I just experienced is I'm walking across the street. I'm kind of behind the crowd because I have a broken, past tense. I just got off of my air boot maybe 4 days ago, and so my leg is still not, my foot is still not in the best shape, and so it kind of like makes me slower, to be honest. And it's not like I'm purposely trying to be slow or purposely lagging behind. It's my actual physical foot is healing, but I still need to walk. So, to have the person who's waiting to turn while you're trying to get across the street safely, rushing you, or upset that it's taking you so long, it's just like, again, this is exactly kind of the behaviors I'm talking about. Not being understanding and not allowing that to be your first response rather than your last response, to think, oh, maybe there's something going on with this person, why it makes them a little bit slower, why it makes them not able to move as fast as everyone else, instead of just pressuring them and getting upset when they're slow. I don't know. I know I'm just one person, so I can't make a world of a difference, but I'm sure gonna try, because it's sad. We can't as a humanity let the human race get to such a state. Whether you believe in the Father, whether you don't, just as a human race, just as human decency, I don't believe that we should allow ourselves or each other to get to that point of just being so sick of people, being so sick of life, in general, that we are not able to extend kindness and care towards one another. And again, I get it. Everyone has their bad days. 100%. Everyone has their bad days. And so no one's going to be perfect, but, oh my. Remembering that, being able to forgive one another, being able to forgive ourselves, but to work towards better. Because of course some interactions you're never going to be able to follow up on. You're not going to be able to follow up on somebody who's rude to you on the road, or you're rude to somebody on the road. You're not going to be able to follow up with them. So that's also another good reason to, I wouldn't say push yourself, but I would push yourself to be kinder, to be more thoughtful. Because that person might not see you again. You might never see that person ever again. So if you've made a mistake and you've been rude and you've been, uncaring or unthoughtful, you might not be able to make it well with that person. And that might not matter to you. But in the grand scheme of things, it does matter. So just do your best. And even just thinking about this and thinking about my children and my spouse, I have to do what it takes to be more kind, more thoughtful, more attentive, more careful with how I deal with those closest to me as well, let alone the people out here in the world. If we could all just take that perspective, that approach, it would be amazing. It really would. I don't know what it's going to take to get us there, but, well, they do say it's going to take an enemy coming from, up above that is threatening all of us, for all of us to realize, hey, we gotta be better. We gotta do better. We gotta be better towards one another. I don't know if my glasses were rose colored before, but a lot of the time, maybe it's just because I had never had an injury to that degree where I was, I had a broken foot for 6 weeks and I'm in a cast, or I'm in an ear cast, and that's how I have to get around. And maybe that's what kind of woke me up to the types of common behaviors I'm seeing and noticing in people. Maybe that's why I'm kind of like waking up to it, because even though I may have had hard experiences with people in general before I had broken my foot, I just have never felt so kind of helpless before, because at least I could still walk, properly, without assistance, without help. And so maybe that's what kind of woke me up. It's just like, whoa, we are, as a people, just not at a place where I thought, we'd be at in terms of our care and our love towards one another. Now, I know that people might think that, oh, it's none of our business, like it's not our problem if, another person is hurting, or another person, is going through something, or another person is rude, or so on and so forth. But I don't know, maybe I'm challenging us to not think that way, but to think more as a collective, and think more about, us moving together as a unit, and less less as being individuals and individualistic, but more community based and more thoughtful based, versus I don't care about you because you don't have anything to do with me, and vice versa. When I can be that way 100%. I think I just said something similar yesterday. Just like, that's not my problem, that's not your problem, da, 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 da. But in a sense, we are here to affect those around us, and we will affect each other, whether we're just walking beside each other on the road, or whether we're dealing with each other in terms of service or products or stores or things like that. We will affect one another, and I think it's important to be very careful in how we treat one another. As somebody just walked past me and brushed past me again, nudging my elbow. Could have been an accident, but again, I bet you he's not thinking about, oh, she might have a broken foot, or she might be recovering from a broken foot while she's walking so slow. Well, I'm just going to brush past her and not be very careful, That's probably what he's thinking. Or, no, that's probably not what he's thinking, as to why he just brushed past me so rudely without saying, I apologize. Oh, sorry. Or excuse me. I hope I caught that. Oh my goodness. So, but again, But again, just grace to him. Grace to him because, you know, how we treat others is going to matter. How we treat others is going to matter. It is. If you want to go on YouTube and watch people's near-death experiences from all different belief systems, you're going to see it's going to matter. So just be cognizant of that. I'm talking to myself as well. It's going to matter what I do. In the end, it's important I'm careful and thoughtful in my actions and in my interactions with those around me, whether I know them, whether I love them, or whether I don't. Whether they are of high status, whether they are low, it doesn't matter. That's all I have to say. I didn't realize I had so much to say, so I hope this has touched somebody. I'm gonna get off now and get to the station and get on a train home. Father's continued blessings. Bye.